Good day, everyone. This is Polyp Noodles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news at DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hey now, everybody, how's it going?
Hello there, Drek. How are things going on in Barovia?
You know.
Same mist, different,
There you go.
different troubles.
Same mist, different day. There you go. I like it.
Same
I'm
mist,
I'm gonna
different
write
day.
that down right now. Same mist, different day. Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Let's head into the game news, where we have a patch to update 47. Apparently, what there was, it wasn't perfect the first time around.
Well, no, nothing's perfect the first time around. Pineleaf, what are you thinking?
One can hope.
Well, one can actually hope. Yep, a little patch, not a lot going into this one, but we did get Barbarian Rage and the Shifter's Shift ability. Say that a couple times fast. I had to make sure I actually said shift there. Abilities now have a base duration that match their tooltip of 30 seconds plus your Constitution modifier. It's a lot of words. The Feywild Illusionist familiar now levels up to level 5 properly, instead of getting stuck at level 4 and then jumping to level 6.
How in the world do they have a bug like that?
I don't know. It's kind of funny. Just your familiar's like, nah, I'm not going to be level 5. Nah. I'm 4, then I'm 6. It's cool. I have got so much knowledge in me, I can just skip 5 and go to 6. Well, now, no, it actually goes to 5 now.
All right.
That is kind of a weird bug, though.
Yes, I suppose that they thought that 5 was an unlucky number or something.
Could be, maybe. I don't know. I guess it depends on the familiar you choose. Maybe they have something against level 5. We don't know.
Yeah.
The legendary alchemical, try that again, Morningstar now has its correct icon. Legendary Mage Right's Cloak now correctly boost enhancement spells instead of providing enhancement saves. Oops. The Ship Siege Bow now properly deals piercing damage, which is always handy to do piercing damage with a bow. The Captain's Cutters. I cannot talk at all tonight. Good grief. It's going to be one of those podcasts. Now properly deals slashing damage. The Feywild's Collectors and Ultimate Fan Edition claim tickets now properly state they're from the Feywild expansion and not the Sharn expansion.
Okay, good.
Which I didn't even notice that because I just clicked on mine without even reading it. So didn't even know that was a thing. The Tome of Destiny +1 from the Feywild, found within the Ultimate Fan bundle of the Fables of the Feywild expansion pack, now correctly states that you must be level 20 or above to consume it. Good to know there, too. And the Purity Filigree now properly provides its Mummy Rot Ward benefit against the mummies in the Night Revels event. And some quests got a little bug fixes. The Promise of Fire, which is one of the newest quests. The Heresies of the Valkyrum now leashes when attempting to leave the Path of the Scorpion area or when it falls into the basement. Watch out for that basement. I think that was in the part where it says the floor is weak and something heavy or whatever.
Okay, now I see. The Heresy now leashes.
Yeah,
when
so
it attempts to leave the Path of the Scorpion area, so it can fall into the basement, because I know I tried it on my first run in there and it refused to go anyway, falling into the basement, which is why I had to do something differently on it.
Yeah, apparently it can. But now, it could, I should say, but now it cannot. It will just leash back to its starting area. Guess that was causing...
Okay. So, falling into the basement is an accidental thing, not an intentional thing.
That I'm not sure.
Well, because it says it will leash if it fell into the basement.
I would think it was an accidental thing because they're not allowing it to happen. So, and I know that was bugging out some people when it did that. They couldn't finish that. So.
Because of the wording of the hint they give you, they make it sound like that getting it to fall into the basement is what you had to do.
You would think so, yeah, exactly, because of the way that worded that, yeah. So I agree, because when you said that, I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. And then we did something else, and then I was like, oh. But anyway, so there you go. And I know we talked about this in the last week, that in the Night Rebels, Eternity Unleashed, which is the dragon, if you did not know that, was closed. Well, that is now back open. It has been corrected. There was an issue that was preventing completion of the challenge. The challenge is now reopened for the duration of this year's Night Rebels event, which is scheduled to run through November the 3rd.
What a coincidence. That ends just before the expansion.
I know. It's like it was almost planned that way. Yes. Also, they corrected an animation issue with the female shifter. Mounts will now properly scale to iconic shifters. The female shifter no longer gets stuck in an infinite animation when you're trying to use bard songs. That would have been funny to see, actually. Female shifters will now properly use fiddle animations for bard songs when they have the flame-touched fiddle equipped. And male shifters are currently bugged and playing no animations with the fiddle equipped. And finally, the eye and the wing cosmetic now appear properly on shifters and razor claw shifters. So there you have it. That is a look at our smallish Update 47 Patch 1.
Then let's have a look at what's coming up in Update 48 is the expansion, where they have another preview, but I have to admit I haven't had a chance to look at this preview because I was busy in a different game.
I was going to say, in the other SSG property, could it be?
Yes.
The new Lamannia build is up, opened today as we record this, which is 10/21, scheduled to go through Friday 10/23. So if you're listening to this live, you got plenty of time. If you listen to this when it released you have a day and a half. If you listen to it after that, you missed out.
Oops.
Again, time travel, weird. Because some people are like going, hey, it's still on. And then other people are saying, no, it's not. It's past. It's like, whoa, time travel. So yes, opened up. There will be a dev event, as always, that is scheduled to take place Thursday, October the 22nd, which is, again, depends when you're listening to this. Could be tomorrow. Could be in the past. It depends. Where are you, future traveler, right now? Coco Majobo states over on the Lamannia forums, hello, all. Preview 2 Update 48 is expected to open in the afternoon Eastern on Wednesday, October the 21st. Expected to remain open until sometime in the afternoon of Eastern on Friday, October the 23rd. And the dev event, which we just talked about. The preview is expected to contain the following features: 13 new dungeons. If you remember last preview, there was only 7 of the dungeons open. Now all of the dungeons will be open for you to check out. The new Wilderness Adventure area also available, and the new public area available as well, showing off more of the named loot and more of the first look at the Augment Revamp. Then they did do a couple little bug fixes and changes from the last Lamannia. There'll be links in the show notes for that. We're not really going to talk about that, so you can kind of look at that and see what has changed from the last build. The one thing we are going to talk about, though, is something that's going to make a lot of people happy. I know some people were having some problems with chat. They think they might have got that chat problem fixed. They are trying to fix out on Lamannia. And I know when I got home from work today, I did watch a little bit of Cordovan's weekly Wednesday stream, and he talked about this, and he said this is probably going to come to live before the expansion update does, just because there's so many people having problems with chat. But this is what they're doing with chat. Keep in mind right now, what I'm going to say, my words right now are only on Lamannia, not on live yet, will soon be. They have improved how guild and guild officer chat is handled on the back end. This should greatly improve how quickly guild chat is available after a world restart and how fast it recovers after a reconnection between the game servers and the chat server. But the most important change they're doing is chat text messages sent to either general, advice, trade, party, guild officer, or player-created chat rooms will now be displayed to you after they go to the chat server and back from the chat server. This means that if you are not connected to the chat server, you're not going to see anything, so it's not going to look like you're chatting with just yourself.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't ever use, I'll be honest, I don't use chat that much. And I didn't notice a problem, but apparently the thing was a lot of people either, it looked like they were actually connected to the chat server, but they weren't. So they're chatting away and nobody's answering them. So people are thinking, okay, everybody hates me. Nobody's answering me. Well, it's because you were basically chatting to yourself. You were not ever hitting the chat server. But now the only way you're going to see what you type is if it goes to the chat server and then comes back to you. Then that means you're actually connected to the chat server. So people are just ignoring you because they hate you because they're not answering you now. So that's, like I said, there's a lot of people that have problems with the chat. I didn't notice anything. Again, I don't use it super often. I mean, every now and again, but I basically use voice chat. But
yeah, because every time I'm in a group, I'm in Discord.
Right, yeah.
And the one person we have that doesn't have a voice connection just types into the Discord chat.
Right, yeah, that's usually what we do. We do use party chat a lot. I know when Rhett and Tay and I play, we'll use party chat a lot just for short things, or if we want to link an item or whatever. It's like, hey, you want this or whatever, we might do that. But anyway. So there you go. That is what is upcoming on the new Lamannia build for the upcoming Fables of the Feywild expansion. Once again, running to Friday afternoon, October the 23rd.
And then let's check the next item that's on the preview server, and that's this thing called an Augment Revamp. And is it good or is it scary?
A little of both. No, I think it's mainly very, very good. We're just going to quickly go over this. There is a lot to this, and I actually haven't got on Lamannia to see this. So I'm just kind of going by what Coco Majobo posted in the forums. I haven't actually played with this yet myself. Hopefully I'm going to try to do that before this Lamannia ends, or I might try to do it. I'm assuming there's going to be another build on Lamannia before the expansion comes out. Maybe. We'll see. But anyway.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there will be. So, Coco Majobo does say, everything seen on the preview server of Lamannia, of course, is not final and is subject to change. So remember that this may or may not be exactly what appears on live once the expansion comes out. But they expected with the release of Update 48 is a revamp to Augments. This is, in large part, fundamentally changing the underlying structure of how Augments and Augment slots will function. The post below is going to describe how these changes are going to appear to players. And then there'll be links in the show notes, of course, for this. But this is what's going to happen once you log in. Remember, right now, this is only Lamannia, but this is how they want it to be. They might tweak it before it gets to live, but just keep that in mind. Any augment that is not slotted into an item when you log in after the expansion update will be updated to both work with the new augment system and reflect the power level of Kenneth crafted effects at the minimum level of the augment immediately upon first logging in, with no other action required on your part. So you don't have to like slot it and unslot it or click on it or give it to somebody and get it back. You don't have to do anything. It's just automatically going to happen when you log in. Then Coco says any item that has an empty augment slot when you log in after the update will be updated to work with the new augment system again immediately upon first logging in. No action is required on your part. So far, so good.
All right. This is probably make me think, so what?
you don't do a lot with augments, do you?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think you did. I do a lot, actually. I'm starting to play with them more. So what's going to happen then is any item that has an augment slotted into an augment slot when you log in after the update is going to work exactly as it had before the update, unless you choose to intervene and unslot the augment using a legacy augment unslotter. That's a weird name, but okay. Legacy Augment Unslotters are a new item that will be sold at the House Kenneth Crafting Hall. Note for this preview, which is, of course, on Lamannia we're talking about, the Legacy Augment Unslotters can be found on the Platinum Auction House, which allows you to remove augments from Legacy-style augment slots, and in the process, you will convert this Legacy-style augment slot and the augment to work in the new augment system. And then they go to tell you how to use that. You can read that. We won't go over that. So what is this new augment system, you might be asking yourself? Slotting augments into is no longer done by double-clicking on the augment and dragging it into the crafting UI for the item that you would like to slot the augment into. Instead, you now just drag the item that you would like to slot in an augment into that has an empty augment slot into the augment slotting panel, which is going to be located on the right side of your inventory menu. It's currently named Modify Legendary Green Steel Items. That will change. That's just for this Lamannia build. And then from there, each augment slot will be available on the item. It's going to be displayed what augment slot you have. Empty slots can then be filled by dragging the correct color of augment into that slot. Filled slots can be emptied by dragging a jeweler's toolkit over that slotted augment and take it out. Whew, that's a quick overview. Like I said, go read the patch notes for this. There's also going to be new named augments that are going to come out. There's going to be new basic augments. So they're doing a lot of work. They're basically retooling the whole augment system. That's just a quick overview. And then he does go ahead and go in and tell you what the new basic augments are going to be, and then what the new named augments are going to be. So you can read about those. Like I said, we won't cover that now. We might talk about that when it actually is finalized, because this is all subject to change at this point. But I'm kind of excited. Like I said, I'm starting to play with augments more and more now. So I'm excited about this and to see the changes and maybe get one of these cool new augments, which, we'll see. RNG and all that.
Yeah. Ooh, that's quite a mouthful. And then we also have some new named loot. And is this anything here that's mouth-watering for you?
Yeah, there's some really good stuff. But before we talk about actually the loot, which then again, we probably won't go into too much because, again, subject to change, but you can go to patch notes and read it. But Kokobo Jobo gives us loot facts. Yes, we have facts about the loot finally. Once again, keep in mind, preview server, Lamannia, subject to change, yada, yada, yada. Loot fact number 1. I should have, if I was not lazy when I edit the show, I could put a cool, loot fact number 1. Will I do that? No, I won't, but I just kind of did it. So imagine that for every loot fact I talk about. Loot fact number 1. Items in the Feywild will be using the same internal scaling that items in Sharn do. You will not experience a numerical jump in power from going from Sharn to Feywild loot. Not directly, at least. What that means is that items that give you a bonus to, for say, example, strength, will give the same bonus to strength in the Feywild as they did in Sharn. Feywild raid loot will be of the same power level as raid loot in Sharn, and the update 47 raids, which of course we talked about last week, are the new legendary 5 raids. And Feywild artifacts will be at the same power level as other artifacts. That means that it is entirely likely that you will be using some Sharn loot as well as some Feywild loot, owing in part to loot fact number 2. which is legendary items in the Feywild, excluding weapons, will drop in one of 4 total set bonuses. These are going to be spring, summer, fall, or winter. These set bonuses are not the other at cap set bonuses that you may be used to. These sets will contain a total of 15 items, and you will only need 7 of the items to get the set bonus. What that means is that the set bonuses work sort of like filigree sets do. They start out with the bonus for having 2 pieces of the set, and then an additional bonus for 3, and then 4, and so on until you reach the final bonus at 7 equipped. That being said, it's entirely likely that a player will only aim for 5 in a single set, or several 2-set versions of all 4 of the new Feywild sets. These set bonuses will not, I repeat, will not stack with Sharn or Revamp set bonuses. So you will be using these to fill around gaps and shore up weaknesses in your character rather than a singular build around the playstyle you were looking for. Loot fact number 3. The artifacts in Feywild are 2 Feywild set bonuses at once. So yes, things just got a bit more complicated.
Okay, this is where things get complicated.
Because we always need more complications, right?
Yeah.
And then that leads us to loot fact number 4. Heroic items in the Feywild pack are all part of one all-seasonal set bonuses. So there's a lot less complication when you're trying to gear at level 5. So with that out of the way, so now that we have our facts, are some benefits and implications of the approach they are taking. A lot of the feedback he's been noticing over the many years on this project is that the Shard and Revamp sets are far too restrictive in their slot choices. Players tend to like the new power of the new sets, but they limit the freedom of our fabulous gear set builders just a tad too much. Hence the repeated feedback in that direction. This is swinging hard in the other direction. My hope is that this kind of slot freedom will allow for a lot more active choices when it comes to endgame play gear-wise. A lot of other feedback Coco has also been noting is that the power jump from Revamp to Charm disrupted a lot of players' gears farming routes and stepped on a lot of content. We're trying something different here, an expansion pack without a level boost. If we can manage to build enticing gear without a level jump, I think we should. But that's what the kind of early feedback is for. So if you feel differently, now's the time for your voice to be heard. And I'm going to add here, just please do it constructively, because it's not going to help if you go on and say, you suck, you don't know what you're doing. That's not going to help at all. Say, I strongly disagree with this because, be constructive, people. Be constructive. Then Coco also goes on to say this approach means that if you're going for a full 7 set in a season, you'll need to find space for less than half of the available items. That means if 1 or 2 of the items don't really pique your interest, that's fine. There's more than enough to choose from. This turns into a huge benefit on my end as well, with that knowledge that with the knowledge that not all the items will be used by all players, I can fine-tune niche items for niche playstyles far easier. If I wanted to build an item specific to something super specific, for example, build an item that an air sorcerer would drool over, I'm less worried that players will be forced to build around it for their set bonus. Finally, I feel this approach also lets me get far more weird with the actual items themselves, thematically. You're going to see some sub-themes within seasons. Dead leaves within autumn, rainstorms within spring, etc., etc. And I do hope you'll expect the truly unexpected when you finally approach the details of the items themselves. So there you go. That's kind of their thought behind this. I like what they're doing here. I really, really do, especially that you don't have to have all 7. You can pick and choose. I like it. I mean, on paper, sounds great. How is it actually going to work? We'll see.
Yeah, I guess I'm not worried about sets all that much because I've rarely found more than 2 pieces of any set in all the time I've been playing DDO.
Because you don't grind for gear, do you?
No.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, if there's something I want and I know, okay, if I have, like, this set, it's going to help this for me, which, I will look to see the set bonuses. If it's something I really want, I'll grind for it because, God knows I'm not going to get it in the first time. Right. Or the 100th time or the 500th time. Stupid RNG. So anyway, so you can go over and read all of the words that I said for yourself. You can also go take a look at all of these sets and the weapons. We're not, like I said, again, we're not going to go over all this. This might change. And there's a crap ton of these. But there is some stuff in here that I am super excited about. And my rogues are super excited about some of these things.
Ooh.
And my rangers are super excited about some of these things. So we'll see. But I think overall, just like looking at the items and the set bonuses, there's a little bit here for everybody. And now you can pick and choose. You can really do some cool stuff, I think, with gear. Then again, we all know if you listen to the show, I am not a power max player at all. I'm not a min-max player. I don't min-max my characters to hell and back. I don't pretend to be a power max player where I'm optimally equipped. I have an optimal build. I play for fun. And to me, some of the fun is, running this content to try to beat the RNG to get this stuff for myself. So coming from a casual non-min-max player, I'm excited about this stuff. I'll be interested to see what the hardcore builders and the hardcore min-max players will say about this change and about the equipment itself. But just glancing over it, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah. And as for me, well, I make Drac look like he's hardcore.
Yes, sometimes you do. That is very true. Because there's been a couple times I'm like, dude, why are you dying? I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, but yeah. But see, that's the fun of it, though.
Then let's into a little notice that apparently they have a little downtime for maintenance for the marketplace. It went down 5 p.m. today. That is 2.5 hours ago. I have not yet seen any word of them being back up yet.
They are not. I just checked. There is no update on that. So apparently it is still down, what does that mean for you? If you were listening live to this podcast right now, you cannot go pre-purchase Fables of the Feywild because the market is down. And if you happen to be a Lotro player, you can't purchase that new expansion either because the market is down.
Yes.
It's just for maintenance. You wouldn't think maintenance would take very long. I guess it depends on what the maintenance is for.
Yeah, that's sort of the question. What kind of maintenance do they need to do at this time of the day? Now, it's possible that the partner that's working with the marketplace is...
Oh, I didn't think about that. It could be. It might not even be SSG for sure. It could be one of the partners. That's very true.
Yes, and if it's one of the partners, then they may be in a different time zone than we are, because usually SSG tries to do things during regular office hours,
right? Yeah,
for Eastern U.S.
Yeah. So hopefully by the time this podcast releases, this will be for naught and it'll be back up and everything will be good. But I would check the forums, the Facebook pages, Twitters, of whichever game you follow, DDO or Lotro or both, whatever, and see if it's back up by the time you're listening to this recorded. Again, time travel.
Time travel. Then let's get out of time travel and head into Fables of the Feywild pre-purchase, as speaking of all of that, where there was a game account login note, because apparently they're tweaking how purchases are made in the store.
Yes, and with this change, keep in mind, Fables of the Feywild expansion, when you pre-order, will automatically deliver to the game account you're logged into. So make sure if you go to the new DDO market and you're pre-purchasing Fables of the Feywild, you're on the account you want it on. And this, of course, is only for people that have multiple accounts, because, there's a lot of people that have like a VIP account, and then they have just a purely free-to-play account. If that's you, make sure you're on your VIP account if that's where you want it, because it's going to deliver to whatever account you're logged in at the time. So, like, I only have one. Well, I can't say that. I do have a purely free-to-play account that I don't do much with, but I have it for reasons.
Yeah. So it looks like you have to log in, and it looks like you're given a CAPTCHA for...
Yes, yeah, I kind of looked at it and I was like, ooh, it's complicated. But
is it one of those CAPTCHAs that's impossible for a real human to complete?
No, it didn't look like it. It actually looked like it was one of the decent CAPTCHAs.
Okay, yeah, because I get sick of this time. It says, all right, now please click on all of the crosswalk.
Yeah.
Really?
I've had those, and I had the ones, click on pictures of trains, and I'm like, I clicked on all the trains, and they're like, nope, you're wrong, and I'm like, no, those are all trains. I guarantee you, those are all trains.
There's a tiny little train in the distance on one you didn't click.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
this is ridiculous. If you put them when that's too difficult for the humans to complete, then how's it going to work?
Well, that means it's way too ridiculous for the computers to complete, so they've done their job.
Well, I don't know, because the computers are easier to program to be able to do those super ridiculous ones.
Well, I guess that's true. You do raise a valid point there, sir.
Anyway, we also have a little video, I believe, done by you to first look at the bonus items from the Feywild expansion, and were you having fun? It looks like you had some fun with it.
I did. I tried to make it fun because, to be honest, those type of videos are pretty boring, actually. So I tried to make it as fun as I could. But yeah, this is just for people, if you're kind of on the fence, you're like, I don't know. I know I'm going to order the expansion, but do I want just the standard, or do I want to get the collectors, or do I want the ultimate? Well, what do the armors look like? What do the unicorns look like? What do the pets look like? So I looked at all of that so you can see, and I laid it out. Okay, if you buy the collectors, you're getting this. If you jump up to the ultimate fan, you're getting this, plus the stuff in the collectors. So this way you can actually see them. You can see them in game. I tried to do like full spins around them all. The unicorns, I actually ran and jumped a little bit, because I know the last time I did a mount video, I got a lot of comments. It's like, why didn't you jump and run with the horses? And I'm like, because I didn't think about it. So I spun around. You got a good look at them. And then I ran around. You can see them running. You can see them jumping, all that fun stuff. So there you go. So check that video out if you're still trying to decide which expansion pack you would like to purchase.
Then that's it for our game news, it sounds like.
So far, yes.
Yes.
Two weeks in a row we had a bunch of game news.
Let's go and find out what's coming in from the dungeon. Where apparently Dragonlance creators Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman have filed a lawsuit against Wizards of the Coast because apparently they have canceled a contract.
This is, Dragonlance and the whole Dragonlance saga just continues.
More ways than one?
Yeah, more. Yeah, this is just adding to the Dragonlance lore of the battles over Dragonlance. Looks like Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss say that they had a contract for a book trilogy, so 3 books, new Dragonlance books. They had the first draft of book 1 done, at least the very first draft. They submitted it to WotC. WotC looked it over. Apparently they said they liked it. And then all of a sudden they told Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, and I will quote this, WotC declared that it would not approve any further drafts of book 1 or any subsequent works in the trilogy, effectively repudiating and terminating the license agreement. And then they pretty much just said, we're done. And they terminated the contract. Now,
no reason.
No, Weiss and Hickman claim there was no reason or cause for the termination. But if you read over the lawsuit, which I must say this is the actual first time I've actually read over a lawsuit, there's a lot of legalese in this thing.
Well, what did you expect?
Well, exactly. But I actually read over this thing. They are claiming Wizards canceled the license agreement with Weiss and Hickman due to a collection of well-publicized controversies involving Wizards of the Coast over the firm's hiring practices and to the number of controversies regarding racism in the Magic the Gathering playing card game. What this has to do with Dragonlance beats the hell out of me. Why that would have anything to do with Dragonlance and why that would cause them to terminate a contract with you, I don't know. I mean, I'm no lawyer, but I don't see the connection between the two, but okay. But as I said, over in the article on DDO Players, there is a link to the legal document you can read. They are basically requesting a jury trial, and they are asking for at least $10 million or more, because that is what they would have made should this trilogy come to pass.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's just I don't know. There's a lot of weird things about this.
I will agree with that.
They did file this on August 13th is when the lawsuit was filed. So this is fresh. It's just now not sure why it took so long for this to become public. Somebody, and I can't remember who first reported on this. I usually link to that. I want to say it was the Hollywood Reporter, I think. I usually credit to whoever was the first to break it. I'm pretty sure it was the Hollywood Reporter broke it first, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, there you go. So we'll see how this pans out. So if you were hoping for that new Dragonlance book, sorry, not going to happen. Probably not ever going to happen.
Not going to happen. Oh, well. Let's go and look at our week in gaming. And Drac, what were you up to?
Not a lot. Did some stuff. Played DDO with you. We did a little bit of the Night Rebels.
Yeah.
We went out, farmed some keys, and then we ran one dungeon. And then we did... what else did we do? We did something else.
The Promise of Flame, I think.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, we ran the new dungeon, The Promise of Flame. Yeah, I was on... my Vistani Nightbiter, you run your favorite soul, and we did it at a level 6.
Yep.
So we did it like a little bit over level, but not because that was the closest level we had to the level 5 dungeon. So I really enjoyed that dungeon a lot. I had fun in that dungeon. I like the look of the dungeon. It's not... I'm trying to think how I can say this nicely. It didn't seem to be too much of, this is the same dungeon we've been in 1,000 times. They just made it look a little different. Is that the nicest way I can say it?
I suppose so.
And I say that with love, SSG with love. But yeah, it looked a little different. The architecture was a little different. I liked how there was a lot of lore built around it. So I really enjoyed that dungeon, and I would run it again.
Yeah, and I went into the dungeon not knowing much about the lore of the drow, especially of the Eberron drow.
Mm-hmm.
Thus, I didn't realize that we had these factions. It looks like one of those factions is the same as the Forgotten Realms drow, as far as I could tell.
Yes.
Yes. So we have these 3 different fractions of the drow, and I get the impression that they all hate each other.
Very much so, yes.
Right. I had a feeling that would be the case. So the ones that you get rep with, are those or are actually the ones that are usually meet in Eberron, are those Vorkor drow
yes.
then?
Yes.
All right.
They're the quote-unquote friendly drows.
I know. When the friendly drow have scorpions, it's
yeah. And they're the Volcurum are the ones that are more open to deal with other races. Like the Underdark drow.
Well, we know them.
Everything is below them. I mean, if you're not an Underdark drow, especially if you're not a female Underdark drow, you're nothing. You're just a slave, basically.
Yeah, I remember that going back. Oh my goodness, that goes back years.
Yeah.
For me.
I mean, that goes. Yeah, that's
back with the Vault of the Drow.
Yeah, exactly. That's a pretty good representation of what drows, especially like old school drow were. But
yeah.
So I really enjoyed this dungeon a lot. So hopefully we'll get more of that in Feywild. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. One little correction though, this is actually a level 6 dungeon, not a level 5 dungeon.
Oh, I was thinking it was 5. Oh, so we were on level then.
Yeah, we were on level for that, and that's why I was looking for a level 6 character, and I guess you were thinking it was level 5.
I would. Yeah, because for some reason I thought it was a level 5. I don't know why I was thinking it was a level 5.
Probably because Feywild is.
Oh, that's probably why. Yep.
And now I always found that a little weird that Feywild that they did this as level 6 dungeon and then the next update after that is going back to level 5.
Let's go level 5. Yeah, you would think they would have made this 5. That's really weird, but okay. Anyway, so there you go. So that's what we did in DDO. Then outside of DDO, I did play some video games. Jumped in, played a little bit of Guild Wars 2. I'm getting super frustrated with Guild Wars 2. I'm running the main story right now. I'm on the... people that play Guild Wars 2 are like, oh my god, you're still doing the Heart of Thorns? Yes, I'm still doing the Heart of Thorns storyline. And I'm at the point now where I'm just getting my butt kicked every time I try to do one of the main story missions. So it's getting super frustrating. So I think I might take a little break for a while and then try to go back and do it. And I can never seem to find anybody that would want to help with that. I've tried to get help, and everybody's way past that at this point. So we'll see. Then I did play some more of Baldur's Gate 3. I'm about probably midpoint, almost to midpoint. Loving the story so far. I'm not going to spoil anything, and I'm trying to think of how I'm going to try to do a mini review on this. Of course, it's still in early access, so a lot of stuff is going to change, and they keep updating it. But so I'm trying to think of how I can do a mini review on it without spoiling it. But oh my gosh, is the story good in this? If you like weird stories, you'll love Baldur's Gate 3. I'll put it that way. And there is some really challenging combats in this too, because there's some combats where you really have to sit and think and be very tactic about it, because if you just go straight in and try to do something, you're just going to get killed instantly, which I have. So I'm like, oh, I have to do this, and then if I maybe try to I gotcha. So if you kind of like thinky combat too, more than just a hack and slash, Baldur's Gate 3 might be for you. But I'm like I said, after I get done with the story, so far at least. Of course, I'm not going to finish the game because the whole game is not out yet. But the part that is released, I'm going to do like a little mini review. So look for that in the next, I don't know when it'll be. Depends how long it takes me. And then the other game I played was Far Cry 5. I have not played Far Cry since, I want to say 2. Might have been 3. It was one of those. But I haven't played a Far Cry game in forever. And I got to Far Cry 5, installed it, started playing it, instantly fell in love. This story, if you like good story, Far Cry 5 is amazingly written, and the story is so good so far. Then again, I'm not going to spoil it. The little mini version of the story without any spoilers is because I did watch a trailer to see what they showed the trailer so I could figure out what to talk about. And I don't know why I'm worried about spoilers because it's like a 2-year-old game. So I probably shouldn't be worried about spoilers, but just in case you might want to think about playing Far Cry 5 because Far Cry 6 is coming out. So maybe people are going to go back if they've never played Far Cry 5 for some reason. You start out, you're a rookie federal agent and you go to the wilds of Montana where a cult has started a compound and you go to arrest the cult leader. And then things don't go so well. And then you're dealing with that. And that's all I'm going to say. Because, again, not going to spoil it. Don't know why. But anyway. Very well-written story. And, oh, my God, is the game gorgeous. It is so good looking. This is, I would say, this is one of the best-looking games I played for a long time. And it's taxing my gaming system. And
taxing it.
Yeah, it's like after playing Baldur's Gate 3 and playing this, I'm like, my God, I need a new gaming PC. Because it's still very, very playable. It's still very good, and it's still gorgeous looking. But I can tell it's like, okay, this is about the reach of my gaming system. But, oh, so good, so good. And it's just so much fun to, like, run around with machine guns and do all sorts of stuff. And there's some really cool missions. The main story is great, but some of the side missions are just amazing. They were so fun. So if you like first-person shooters, you like story, check out Far Cry 5. I'm probably third of the way into it, maybe something like that. Just kind of judging by some stuff I've looked at. I tried not to spoil myself because I want to see how the story ends, but it looks like I'm maybe about a third of the way through the game. So that's pretty much it. Didn't play any tabletop or anything like that. Did start to shoot some tabletop videos though, but ran into some snafus, so I'm gonna have to redo those. So we should have some new videos coming maybe this weekend or early next week. Stay tuned for that.
Then on my week, I finally got around to trying the shifter, of course, because the shifter just came out. So I created a shifter cleric and ran through the Keep on the Borderlands. Now, the Keep on the Borderlands, I pretty much ripped through it on that character. Now, there are some characters where I had little bumps and bruises or any hair, but my shifter cleric just went through there, like, mowed through the whole thing.
Well, it probably helped you were a cleric, too.
Yeah, I think the cleric bit probably helped a great deal on that.
And I'm guessing you were kind of doing like a battle. I haven't watched any of your videos yet, so I don't know. But I'm kind of guessing you're basing it kind of like on a battle cleric since you're a shifter cleric.
Yes, on a battle cleric.
That makes sense. Okay.
Now, while playing this, and someone actually called me out on this on a comment in the second video, and that is that I can't find the use for actually shifting.
That was going to be my next question for you. How do you like shifting, and how are you doing that? But okay.
I have not intentionally used it yet because the only time I could think of using it is if I was fighting against an opponent that will try to take over you or something like that.
Okay.
So that requires you to make many will saves because I can't understand a wisdom bonus rage just sounds so weird.
Yeah, I get, like, we kind of talked about this when we talked about the shifter before too. I guess that is like one of those that you're really going to have to think and plan your character out a little
Yes.
bit.
Well, one of the things I have to be able to do is, are there any enhancements that allow you to use wisdom for your attacks and bonuses in combat?
Yes.
And I guess I got to figure out what tree that is in.
Yeah, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I will look it up. Or, of course, I'm sure we'll probably get comments. People are probably screaming at their podcast device of choice right now. It's
right.
Like, you dummy, it's this one. So, yeah, I just can't think of it off the top of my head. So, yeah, if you have any suggestions for Pine Leaf, leave them in the comments.
Yes, because otherwise, if I don't, I'm trying to think, how can I actually continue this? Because it's episode 2, someone calls me out for never shifting.
Well, yeah, I mean,
there's no reason to shift. It's a disadvantage to shift because my strength goes down.
Right. Yeah, I think you probably... that's a good question. I guess another good thing for people to comment on too is like, what would you, like the shifter, what class would you do with the shifter?
Well, there is that, because if you were a...
Like,
I think if you were a shifter of a class that was mainly a melee class, they would have given me the other shift bonus and stuff. Because I think it was because I was a cleric is why it by default, because it didn't even ask me because I just took a path.
Yeah.
So it looks like if you are a cleric and you choose a path, it will by default put you in the wisdom.
Oh, so you...
And that makes sense.
You did a path. Okay.
Yeah. So I did a path on my cleric because I didn't feel like...
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. Hopefully somebody will comment, and because I got no suggestions on that. I'd have to think about that.
Right, because there has to be some use to the wisdom path in there, and it can't be for combat. It can't be for spell casting, because the only one I could think of is if you're going into a situation where you feel like you're going to be having to make a huge number of saving throws against will.
Right.
And you're going into that situation, you click on this, it's going to compromise your combat slightly, but you get this advantage. But the only possibility I could think of is if there was some way to get your will bonus to be active for your combat instead of your wisdom bonus instead of your strength bonus. Because right now I am pretty even, I think, distributed on my strength. See, right? Because I have... Actually, no. I think my strength might be my highest so strength or wisdom my highest attribute? I can't remember. Anyways, a lot of my abilities are even, though, oh boy, my int score is down in the basement. And in fact, my int score was so bad that making a search roll, it's not even worth trying, even for those that anyone can make, unless it was given one of those search DCs that's impossible for anyone to miss, because there are a couple of those.
Right, yeah, there is.
Yeah, so unless it's one of those, I'm not making that. I'm not making that
wow.
search attempt. That's how bad it is. So that's all. Anyway, I did the keep of the Borderlands and all of that stuff. And when I got to Total Chaos, I checked all the places where that codex page could appear, and I could not find it at a single one of those locations. In fact, over the possibility that it could be in the treasure room, I let the opponent open it. I made sure I did not kill the boss until after it. Of course, by that time, there was no way I was going to catch him since I didn't have Expeditious Retreat or anything like that. So he got away after that. But I did not want to kill him before he opened up that room, because I say, well, what if the treasure's behind there? And I know I'm not going to be able to open that secret door if the boss doesn't open it up. But it wasn't there. It wasn't in any of the other usual places. And I can't for the life of me. I searched all over the place, and I could not find that codex page. So I had to give up. But so the one that's on the video is the failed attempt, because I couldn't find that codex page. I did rerun it afterwards, rerun it again, and then I did include in the video where in the second run I found the codex page. I wasn't going to show the entire run for that in there. So I did eventually finish it, but I'm wondering, what happened to it? I don't know what happened to the codex page on the first time. There must be another room, an obscure place that is a location for. Is one possibility I was thinking of is that it could be in that secret area that connects the room with the light puzzle with the temple in there. Because I did not get that room open because I think there are like at least two different ways of opening it. One of them is to have all the chaos. I think one of them has to do is putting in all three of the chaos things. I don't know, but whatever it is, I could not open that door because no search skill. I've had the people inside occasionally open it up and attack me.
Yeah, I've had that happen a couple of times too before I could even like search for it.
But in this case, the puzzle was, because sometimes the puzzle is up and sometimes the puzzle is down. So it looks like the puzzle was down and no one came out to attack me. So I couldn't find it. I don't know if the codex page is possible because I've never seen it back there, but that's the only place that I think I did not check. So who knows? So that was a fail in there. As I said, I did find it the second time. So I did get all the way through there without any hireling or anything like this, but cleric, as you said. Then I decided, let's get to level 3, because I was thinking I'd want to run this for the Feywild. So I ran a few harbor quests. Dirk's Got a Secret. And the grand irony in Dirk's Got a Secret is that it's the first time, I think, in 5 years that I found both troglodytes in that dungeon.
Really?
I keep on forgetting where those secrets are. So therefore, the character I have that is worst at finding secrets
found that kobold or the troglodytes.
Managed to find both troglodytes in there.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So then I ran Millerstedt, Information is Key, and Explosive Situation. Then I got to level 3. And now I'm wondering, do I try to get to level 5 and run Feywild with this character? But then I'm wondering, well, if I don't do any shifting on this character, then it's hard to do a series. Right. Yeah, what's the point onto it? So I'm thinking maybe I will instead take my Alchemist. My Alchemist is level 6, so a little high maybe on there. I'll have to see. If I get somebody else to level 5, then maybe I could do that then instead. Things to be decided. But yes, had fun with the shifter, but except for one little detail, not much shifting. And then after doing that, I decided, well, let's go and do the monk, because the monk is the only class I had not yet done this year for Keep on the Borderlands. So I created a human monk. Race didn't matter since I've already done all the races. Then I went in and did all of Keep of the Borderlands. So here we go, the monk, the most dexterous and agile class in all of DDO, and I fell into the stupid trap. And watch your step.
That's hilarious.
The only thing that's funnier is that the runner also fell into the trap.
Okay, that's super hilarious.
Yeah, so despite the fact that I did a total fail trying to get to the runner, I got the runner anyway because the runner fell into the trap. Because obviously, if you fall into the trap, there's no way you're catching the runner. Unless the runner falls into the trap.
I was going to say, they fall into a trap with you. Very convenient.
I could not believe that. Then I had to redo Violent Delights, which is not all that unusual. The first time I tried standing in Violent Delights where I stood for my ranged fighters. But apparently, if you're a melee character class, standing there is a very, 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 very bad idea. So I was squashed there. And then the other problem is that I had done the previous 6 dungeons all in one session, so I had not yet returned to the keep, which means I have all those enhancements that I had not yet been able to cash in. So when I was ported back to the keep, I turned in all those quests to upgrade my gear a little bit, and I also put in those enhancements. Then I returned, did Violent Delights again, did it where I just went in and stood toe-to-toe and fought with them, despite the fact of what happened to me last time. And that time, I managed to get through that pretty handily. And I did not bring a hireling to me. I did this without a hireling. I figured that if I got killed a second time in there, then I would bring a hireling. That was my decision on there. So I did get through it on the second attempt. And I had no trouble with finding the codex page on this one. Then, of course, I ran the Night Revels with you, and then where we went in there, did a little bit of Night Revels and the Promise of Flame. Then in Tabletop, I played around of Snowdonia. This time I played the Mount Washington scenario, which is the first time I ran one of the alternate scenarios for Snowdonia instead of the default one that's at Mount Snowdon. So I did Mount Washington, seeing what little differences they had in that particular one. And the biggest one is that this particular scenario actually includes snow.
Which in a game called Snowdonia, you would hope so.
Well, I have a feeling that probably they avoided doing too much building when it was snow. Probably. I don't know enough about the history of the building of that railroad to it, but apparently it could be because the railroad, they tend to have, I think, some very, very heavy snowfalls on Mount Washington. Either that or tended to have minor avalanches caused by it, so there's all this rubble causing that they have to dig out every single time you have a major snowstorm or something like this. So it could be it snows a lot more on Mount Washington than it does in Wales, which that's always a possibility. Mount Washington is probably a bit taller than any mountain in Wales. And that concludes my gaming for this week. So let's head on to see if we have any emails. No, we do not. But you could send us one at podcast@ddoplayers.com. You can also us at Twitter, the Players Alliance at PlayersLA, DDO Players at DDO Players, Dracula at Dracula_72, and Piling Pet Piling Needles. We have 2 shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. USC Eastern Time via DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. USC Eastern Time via Local Players News. And you could join us for our shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight, and this is Piling Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.